Hey everybody, welcome to the 2020 NFL season. It's happening. We've got our fantasy teams. We're loaded with options. Now it's time to make a lineup for week one. And it's not that easy. Hey, I'm Chris. Thanks for watching the channel. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel early in the year. That really does help. So throughout these ranking shows all season, you will notice that we will be scrolling my preliminary weekly ranks. This is week one. So my preliminary week one ranks as I talk, but I encourage you, as news warrants, I do change the ranks. So please check out the updates at harrisfootball.com. And so here we are making our week one lineups, and there's a lot of running back uncertainty. I thought just today we would talk about, holy moly, what are we going to do with some of these running back twos and flexes? Like, I don't really know what to tell you about the week one workloads of players we've never seen play in the league before, and players who didn't get real preseasons. We're going to have to guess in a lot of cases, and also there are some injuries, and I don't know, naturally a lot of your decisions tend to get made based on where you drafted a player, because the higher you drafted him, the fewer other good options you have. For instance, we'll start with Jonathan Taylor, last seen rampaging across the Big Ten and all of college football. I really love the guy's long-term potential, but what do the Colts have in store for him in week one? It's what looks like a fairly sweet matchup against the Jaguars defense that might do a fair impersonation of the college defenses that you see here. And Taylor, as we've talked about all spring and summer, is big, he's fast, he's a true power back playing behind an interior offensive line made for these kind of power runs. But when the Colts want to run outside zone, is Taylor the best guy? This guy's hanging around, Marlon Mack. This is early last season. He's not chopped liver on this 63-yard touchdown run. And if we take it back and watch the end zone view and slow it down right before his cut, here's why running outside zone is an art. Watch Mack actually plant with his inside foot before the hole opens up. He can see the lane before it's there, between number 78 and number 64 there. It's a subtle move, but it comes before the hole is actually there. Does Taylor have that vision yet? It is, of course, impossible for me to say. We don't know what he's capable of. We don't know how this workload splits. For week one, I ranked Taylor number 23 in standard and Mack number 26, the splitting of the baby. I don't want to overemphasize matchup. I think the Jags might be a good one, but more importantly, as is a theme on this show, I don't know how the team is planning on deploying this backfield. I don't know. I can see either guy being usable, but both carry risk. We'll get to more week one ranks in just a second, but first let's thank the sponsor. We have DraftKings. If you've heard me talk about DraftKings over the years and maybe you're thinking of finally giving it a try, it's a great time to open a DraftKings account. You pick a new team to fit under the DraftKings salary cap every week based on matchups and based on what your gut's telling you. You can win big cash prizes for sure on DraftKings, but one thing I like is that DraftKings has been sponsoring my stuff for so long, they've actually gotten in the habit of making us a weekly contest. It's private. It's just for podcast listeners and YouTube viewers. We will put the link to our week one contest right here, and you can come play against me and the Daves and Mitch from the podcast and tons of other listeners. It's $5. All the entry fees go back to the winners. DraftKings doesn't take a rake. We've been doing it for years. We keep standings. Every month, the cumulative winner wins a one-on-one Skype session with me. Open an account now, download the DraftKings app, or go to DraftKings.com. Either way, use the promo code HarrisTube. You can't win if you don't play. Do it while you're thinking of it. Right now, let's play. You got a link to go play with us in week one. Let's do it. And use that code, HarrisTube. All right, so talking more about week one ranks, and I mentioned that big investments probably mean you have to play a player. So like, for example, Miles Sanders. If you did it, if you took him in the first round, if you took him in the second round, I know he's not a sure thing with his hamstring, but I think you probably have to play him. However, the investment in Lions rookie running back Deandre Swift, not quite so high. And he also is nursing an injury, so what do we think about using him in week one? Swift has so much career upside. His elusiveness is the best, I think, in an impressive rookie class. He might turn out to be a Dalvin Cook type player, just really hard to contain in the open field, really good, subtle open field adjustments. Not really an ankle breaker, but definitely a potential home run hitter whose in-run changes in vector make defenders look silly. But, as I inferred, Swift has been dealing with a leg injury late in camp, and we just can't know what the Lions' plans are for him in week 1, not for sure. I started the week with him at number 32 among running backs facing the Bears in week 1, with this guy, Kerryon Johnson, at number 33. Johnson didn't have a good 2019. He got hurt. He didn't make a lot of big plays, but, I mean, we're showing you this. You can see the combination of sturdiness and acceleration here that's not common. A good burst, I think, for a 211-pound player. If Deandre Swift is active, which as of my recording this, we think he's going to be, then, I mean, ranking them 32 and 33 represents me kind of punting. You can use either one, but probably aren't going to feel awesome about either one. And if we somehow discover that there's no Deandre Swift for week 1, yeah, I would increase. I would hike Kerryon on the ranks. He gets more usable, but don't forget about this guy. Adrian Peterson has now taken to roaming the countryside, going town to town, ruining your fantasy football dreams. Probably hard to start Peterson, not knowing anything about it, but he could very well wind up spoiling the party for Kerryon. Probably hard to get carried away with any of these Lions running backs until we watch them in week 1. And in the same game, how about this one? The Bears, David Montgomery, had the well-publicized groin injury a few weeks ago. Tarik Cohen comes out Wednesday and tells reporters, hey man, it's like the injury David Montgomery suffered never happened. He looks great. What the heck do we make out of that? I would tend to say that we make nothing out of that. Kind of feels somewhat easy to skip David Montgomery for week 1. I listed him with the same group, number 34 among running backs, and Tarik Cohen is 30. That's in standard. Cohen's higher in PPR. But again, you could try David Montgomery and hope for the best. Let's face it, we are talking about a jumble of running backs in that flex type area. I mean, for heaven's sake, the Ravens came out on Wednesday and listed J.K. Dobbins 4th on their running back depth chart. What in the wide, wide world of sports are we even talking about? He's behind Gus Edwards and he's behind Justice Hill? Come on. I don't believe that. I think I probably don't believe that. For heaven's sake, he's the one who's healthy of all these guys, right? But there are no guarantees, and maybe they're going to make him earn it as the season goes along. I wasn't able to get J.K. Dobbins higher than 31 in this same neighborhood, in that gross mishmash. But yeah, as long as this guy's hanging around, Mark Ingram, number 15 for me this week against the Browns, everyone else for the moment is playing for second place. Like at this later stage in his career, as you can see on this run, he's rounding off of his cuts, right? He's pitter-pattering his feet when he wants a sharp direction change. That is a sure sign that he's not the same dude he used to be. But if we take it back to the end zone view, Ingram can get away with less decisive cuts, or the ability to cut less decisively, because he still has that incredible tackle-breaking power and I think some pretty legit acceleration. And naturally, he is part of a great running offense. I gotta think he keeps his nose out in front of Dobbins and these other options we're talking about in week 1. I don't know anything for sure, but that is how I have them ranked. The message here is, I don't know. We don't know. Nobody knows. I really don't know any better than you do how these players are going to wind up getting deployed, and I didn't even talk about the backfields in Jacksonville and Tampa Bay and Washington. We are going to learn an awful lot in week 1. Of course, as information is presented to us in the form of practice reports, I will continue to update the ranks at harrisfootball.com. We'll do our best. We'll cobble together lineups for this week, and then we will finally have some film and some information about how they actually get deployed, and we can start ranking guys probably a little bit smarter. Thank you for watching. I really hope you'll like this video. I really hope you'll subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot. Thank you very much. Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.